I've got a very fun and involved card project to share with you today. Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and my studio. Today's card project features foiling, stenciling, die cutting, other things, all to create a melange that comes together for a gorgeous card project featuring cool products from Waffle Flower Crafts. To see that card project, stick around. It's coming up next. Here's a look at the products I'll be using today for my card, and I'm very excited to have this foil, hot foil stamps and dies together. They all say with Sympathy, and it's nice to have an assortment and to have a Sympathy card on hand when you need one. So there's that. Then I also have these two products which could be used separately or together. I'm going to try to use them together, and this is the Zig Zag Stencil Trio, and this is the coordinating Quilted Zig Zag texture die. So it's going to have this beautiful texture. I think I will stencil first and then, no, I'm going to die cut first and stencil over that. But we are going to start with hot foiling, and I'm actually going to do a little experiment today. So let me get out my Glimmer machine and we'll get started. I'm going to use this beautiful Prism color for my greetings because I have a feeling I'm going to go with some nice blue tones. Now, if you are using a hot foil system, you need to be sure you use a hot foil foil. The deco foil that works with heat and pressure is not the same, although I have heard now that deco foil now has hot foil as well. And even though I never have a ton of success with cutting, I am just going to cut a piece here on my mat. Now, I used to have a little fabric cutter, and I know those work really, really well. And I don't know what happened to mine. I had it. I want to cut it nice and straight. Here at the end, I'll just grab an X-Acto knife, right? And pop my knife into the groove and cut. So that is a nice, excuse me. I don't have the cutter that works with this foil anymore. I broke it. So that was fun. Okay, so here's our first piece of foil. You can see how the color shifts depending on how the light hits it. Isn't that cool? Well, it's very cool. Okay, I have my experiment now. Here's the experiment. 2 pieces of cardstock. The one that looks a little darker, this is actually the Simon Says Stamp Glossy Cardstock. And I've seen people foil on this, so I wanted to give it a try and see. And then I also have the Simon Says Stamp 130 pound. I want to foil on both of these just to see the difference. And then the best part is I'll have a whole mess of with Sympathy greetings that I can use for future card projects. So that's what we are going to do today. I want to make sure to have my foil cut to about the size that I need. That. And that come off, yep, very nicely. See, if you, yeah, an X-Acto knife actually works pretty well with this. Okay, make sure that's cut. And there we go. All right, let's move on to the first test. So I'm going to take all of these pieces and just place them right in the center. All right, so we're doing our 4 samples. Ooh, it already starts to heat up. Now that these are on, I am going to take my foil, pretty side to the plates, okay, like that. I'm going to put my shiny glossy side down. I'm going to go ahead and hit the timer. I have a plate and a shim. I never know which one is supposed to go, so we'll just do that. There's 1, and here's 2. And we'll let that heat up. All right, this light is solid, so I'm going to gently disengage from the platform like that. I'm going to bring in my Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine. Okay, I know you can use a Glimmer with other systems. You just have to figure it out. I think you can use it with other systems. We'll pop it in here, and we're just going to run it through. Push that off to the side a little. I'm just going to go slow. And I think I'll come back to, why not? That. Okay. And this, of course, is the Platinum 6 machine that is just the limited edition pretty little Aqua one. So let's pop that back in. I'll move this out of the way. Let's take the plates off like this. And I will also grab my little Glimmer mat here and see. I have a feeling it's going to work great. Let's do, and also, okay, before I peel and reveal, I'm just going to pick these up and then press with this little tool, like that, because I want to let these cool down before I do my next one, because I still need to cut out my paper. So let those cool on the mat, and now, oh, we barely got it at the top, but I think this is going to look, oh, we had a little double. It moved when I dislodged it. Why does that always happen to me? Again, foiling follies continue. Do you see that? Let me zoom in here a little. Do you see that double foiling? That was not what I was going for. Okay. Well, that one works and that one works, so those are keepers. But the result of the foil on this cardstock, beautiful, just beautiful. Not even a trace of overfoiling. So let's move on to the 130-pound Simon cardstock. Lift, lift, lift. Well, that actually looks like I might have gotten it this time, but let me get these off real quick. Okay. I think I moved the position of each one on here, so let's see, is that a little better? Lift, and let's see what this cardstock does. Oh, wow, so much overfoiling. And it slid again. So I think I'm going to be trying one more time with the glossy. Well, and I could use hammer mill too, but I don't love how this looks because there's just too many areas that are filled in. Whereas here, there are like none. This is like perfect. So I think I'm going to stay with this glossy cardstock. That's amazing, but I'm going to try to redo those so I can use those as options. All right, I ran it through again. We're going to do this next test on the glossy. Oh, that is so much better. A little overfoiling up there. It doesn't really matter. I decided to use a piece of silver, just plain silver, and that's what it was supposed to look like. So that's really interesting. But definitely this coated stock is amazing. So I'm going to grab coordinating dies and cut out a few of these before we move on to creating our panel. All right, I've got my dies taped into place, and I'm just going to pop each one separately here. I'm going to run this through my Gemini Junior. Run that through. And take a peek here. Ooh, very, very elegant and pretty. You know, this coated cardstock is kind of cool because it's not as shiny as I thought it was. I think it's really cool. I'll go ahead and cut these out as well, and then we're going to move on to die cutting the panel and ink blending. So this little panel looks like it's let me double check that. I think it's 4 inches by 5 1/4. So that means it'll give a nice little border. So I cut a larger piece of cardstock here, and I'm just going to angle it a little so that it doesn't go through too hard. And again, I will just run this through the die cut machine. All right, and let's see. Oh, that's actually really cool. Look at my beautiful, oh, let's see. I don't know if it's showing it. Let's come in a little closer here. You get this wonderful quilted texture. So it's very subtle. It's actually subtler than I thought it would be. I really like that. And this would be nice just on its own too, like out of a piece of colored cardstock, but I'm going to get set up to ink blend. There are numbers on the stencil. This says 3 of 3. So I'm working in reverse order, but there's also a nice little outline. So if you use the traditional size panel, it's going to line it perfectly. I just wanted to cut my panel first because I thought it would be very hard to do that guesswork. So I've just got this taped into place, and Just make sure it doesn't move. And I'm going to go with these really cool purpley tones. So I think this will work. I've got Marine, Heather, and Lilac from the Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated collection. All right, so let's see. I don't know. I don't know. We're just going to blend. Let us peel and reveal to show my finished blended panel. Isn't that pretty? I think that's actually really nice, and I'm gonna just let this sit for a bit, let these beautiful inks soften as they will, and then we will complete our card project. I have an idea that I may or may not do, and that is to use a little vellum band behind this greeting. I think this looks beautiful just as is. I've gone ahead and put some foam squares on the back, and I'm going with the silver instead of this because I almost feel like, as much as I love this foil and as much as it matches beautifully with the colors I've chosen, I don't really know if it's appropriate. So it almost feels a little too disco ball, even though it's the coolest foil. But here's what I think I'm going to do. Let's get my plate here. I'm going to cut with an old, this is ancient. This is one of the first die sets I ever bought. This is from Lawn Fawn. I think it's called the Small Rectangle. And I'm going to create a band. Let me see here. With stitching in vellum. I'm only going to do a partial cut because I'll need to figure out what the best size is. But here, I think I can get this straight. I'm going to cut this out of vellum to get that one stitched side. So let me go ahead and run that through the die cut machine. Right, take that and lift this up. Now, what I have here is I have a little stitching right in this piece, which will look very cute in coordination with the stitching on here. I don't know if I'm going to use it for sure, but what I want to do is figure out how deep I want the band to be, right? Just so that I try to get this as straight as possible, like that. All right, going to tape that into place. And again, I might change my mind and I may not use it, but I wanted to see what it looked like. And again, I have not used one of these Lawn Fawn stitched rectangles in a really long time. So let's see what our little strip looks like. And I don't know if you ever need this kind of tip. I love this for creating your own little custom die cut strips, right? Because I don't have this size with stitching, but let's see. There you go. Come on. Come on. It's really stuck in there. All right. But now look at that nice little stripped banner that I've created. All right, let me get some other things that I need. Before I put my foam tape on, I think I'm going to bring in one of my magnets that I purchased to go with my glass board, just to maybe hold that in place while I figure out where the center is. Now, if I look at my pattern, I guess it kind of goes from the purple to the purple like that. And I am going to hold this in place. That way I can fold this over on the back, right? And it should be fine. I think that looks centered, right? A little tape just to hold it. Now I'll take a little tape runner, flip my panel, and just do a little bit there and a little bit there. And this is just Gina K tape runner. Then I'm just going to fold this over like like that. I'll get my bone folder here, give that a little press. Okay, like that, and press. So now I have my little panel on the card. I'm going to just release that tape like that. And now let me add the foam tape to the back. I'm just going to be using Ulta New, the foam tape. I've really been enjoying this product lately. And what's great is I can put one right onto where the vellum is, so that will secure it even more. And I'll go ahead and add the rest all the way across. So I've got my foam tape on the back, and you can see how you can see through to the pattern. And I thought that this Simon Says Stamp Lavender, see how you only see a little bit with the panel cut? I think that would be a beautiful piece. You know, you could also do this in Simon Says Stamp Surf. I think the cool tones are very soothing and peaceful. So let me score my card base. And of course, this is 11 inches wide by 4 1/4 tall. I'm going to go ahead and score it right at 5 1/2. Okay. I'll fold this down and just give it a quick press with my bone folder. So now I can go ahead and take the backers off the foam tape. And because this is going to be a tight little fit, I am going to take a little bit of liquid glue and just do a ribbon. And what I mean by tight fit, I just want a little float time. It just is a very, the margin around the card base will be very narrow. But that will give me, you can barely see it, it will give me a little bit of float time, right, like that. Yes, see how it has just that nice margin around the edges? Oh, so pretty. All right, and now we'll go ahead and we'll add with Sympathy. And I just think that is very elegant to have a little frame for, and it has the little match stitching too. So I always like to find a way to tie in design elements. And place that just very simply, no tilt, kind of the same from side to side, top to bottom, and press. I think that's just elegant and very, very pretty. And you know, it's, again, the colors are very soft. I love now that we have the texture repeating here on the vellum and on this piece as well. Let me add a few sequins to finish out the project. I've just added 2, 2, and 2, which I actually think having it all contained here in the vellum band is really nice. It adds a little extra shine without being too ostentatious. So let's go ahead and add these down. Boop. A little there. Oh, here we go. There. And it will also help to weight the vellum a little. Probably not a lot, but right there. I like that. And just one over here. Boop. So 3 gatherings of 2. I like odd numbers, but this is odd numbers of even groupings. And that's the finished card project. One thing I learned today is that the Glossy Cardstock from Simon Says Stamp is really nice for foiling. Let's take a closer look. I mean, look at that. It's really nice, and it doesn't come across as super glossy. I mean, the shine is nice, right? That's great, but the glossy part itself, this just really feels like it's some sort of printed embellishment, like from American Crafts or something. You know what I mean? It's got that sort of feel to it, and I actually think that cardstock is really, really cool. And of course, I have a few others, right? I have this little friend that turned out great. I have this little friend that I can set aside as well. and this smaller one, which is also really pretty. I just didn't, now that I see the rainbow of those colors, I mean, I guess that could be really nice, but I keep a little bin with products that I've already done so that I could pull them out, make a pretty background, and have these ready to go for another card as needed. Thanks so much for watching today. You can find links to all of the products that I used in this card project today in the YouTube description box. I'd love to have you become a subscriber to my channel, so hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you back here with another card project soon. To see a few more card projects that feature hot foiling, I've got 2 thumbnails set up for you below, and I will see you in those videos.